Hi cuties, and welcome to the Wordstock AuthorTube Seminar Part 2. In this series, there's a bunch of authors all around AuthorTube that are giving advice and information about different subjects in writing. And the subject that I have been chosen with? Yeah, I'm a writer. The topic that I have selected is tension. I'm gonna give you 5 tips to help you create good tension in your story. For those of you who don't know me, I am the author of the Ashport Archives with 3 books out in that series: Search for the Phoenix, Memory of the Hoopaway, and Cage of the Karuta. I love writing tension. I think it's just one of the best parts about writing, because tension, you can add it in so many different ways. You can have romantic tension, you could have conflict tension, you can have tension just to lead up to the big battle. There's so much you can do with tension, but you gotta do it well. Sometimes tension can be a struggle for some people, and that's why I'm going to give you some advice for how I create tension in my own books, and hopefully it will help you as well. There are lots of other author-tubers participating in this seminar this round. We have 2 topics this round of Wordstock, and that is suspense and tension, so I'm part of the tension team. I will link everybody's channels down below, and you can see different videos about creating tension and about suspense. In writing tension, I love using body language. When you're having your own tension in your own life, if you're talking to someone and there's that tension feeling going on, the tenseness is real, you're not saying things like feeling tense, and you're not saying that, I'm not okay with this, or your own little pet peeves. You don't physically say them, but it's all read in body language. So the way that some people will look down at their feet or tense their bodies, clench their muscles or clench a fist or something, different body language really helps convey that to the reader, even without telling them. I'm writing a scene of dialogue and I have 2 characters that have conflicting opinions. I'll have, rolling of eyes, huffing and puffing at them, or, scoffing, different things like that. And then you'll have other terms, shifting from side to side when they're uneasy. You'll have different tenseness in the way that they are holding their mouths, and the way that they're holding their eyes and their jaws and stuff. Those are really good ways to clue into your reader that there's a tenseness happening here. Instead of just saying like, oh, he was upset by what they said, he didn't like this, she didn't like that. Those are not great ways to show tension, but body language is great. And there's a few great resources that I even use, and I will try to link them down. I have to kind of find them again, on different ways you can express different emotions through body language. As the Queen of the Sea, Ursula, always tells us, don't underestimate the importance of body language. Ha! Next up, kind of building off of this, is show, don't tell. You don't want to just tell your readers this is what's happening. You can show tension, again, in body language. You can show tension in the way your room is set, in the atmosphere around it. The air feeling heavier, or a vibration kind of feeling around their fingers. You can feel it in the weather outside. All of those different elements can help build tension, instead of just telling the reader they're tense, or something is happening that is tense. Having those moments of different sensory. There is some advice for people on each page that you should kind of touch on all 5 senses. I don't necessarily agree with that every single page, but I do think at least in every scene there should be some good sensory for the reader to understand and for the reader to interpret as they will. They don't necessarily have to interpret it the same way that you might be, but as long as it immerses the reader more into the text, then you're doing a good job. That's why they have English classes where you constantly interpret old writing. Showing through a variety of different eyes, not just the eyes of your characters, the eyes of the room, the eyes of the sky, the eyes of the animals, whatever around it. Obviously, don't overdo that, because then your readers get on with this scene, but having little hints like that really does help your reader get more immersed into the story. Then you have to kind of think about the motivation of your tension. So what are you gaining from creating this tension? You don't want to have pointless tension in your story. You want to have it have a purpose, whether it's within a scene, whether it's building up to the big climax conflict, anything like that. You need to have a strong purpose behind it. You can't just add it in for no reason, especially if there's no resolution to it. All tension has to be shown in kind of, I guess, an arc, a parabola, if you will. You have to kind of start it off, and you build and you build and you build, and then you release. That has to be done in it. Granted, you can build tension 4 books. Like, that's how they do it in a series. You build tension within each book, you build tension for the overarching story. You can do that, but you have to kind of do it smartly. So when you're writing your plots and stuff, kind of think about where do you want tension to heavily play in the most, and then how you can play it so that it's not, you know, overwhelming your reader with tension to the point that it will just become aggravating for them to read. So on that note, you must release the tension at some point. You can't just leave it. This especially happens in the case of character tension, especially in romantic tension. Terrible examples of building tension for no reason is queer baiting. So like the show Supernatural is really great at this, where they build the tension between certain characters, and it's very blatantly shown in a romantic context, but never actually giving the viewers the release of that tension that is being portrayed. So the portrayal of your tension has to have a purpose. So is the tension conflict? Is the tension romantic? Is the tension disagreement? What is it? What is the actual purpose behind it? And then how do you get to the point where you can release that tension, no matter what it is? If it is a romantic tension, obviously it should culminate in those two characters coming together in some way. It doesn't have to be, you know, a big makeout scene, although I'm sure a lot of readers would be really happy with that. But it has to make sense. It can't be all for naught. That being said, your characters don't have to get together, but there has to be some kind of declaration. So if you're intending to have certain characters have a romantic tension and they don't actually end up in the end, there does have to be some form of release of that tension, whether it is a declaration of love, but then I'm stepping away, or, you know, a character dies or something like that. There has to be some form of resolution to that tension. You can't leave it tense, or else it breaks and your reader hates you. Just know, release your tension, especially if you're sitting right now and you're sitting hunched over and you're clenching your teeth. Just relax, guys. You've probably been watching YouTube for a while right now on your phone. Just relax your body for a second. Okay, cool. The final tip that I can give you for writing tension is, after you have written your tense scene, have someone other than you read it aloud. If while you're listening you can feel the tension in that, or they can feel the tension as they're reading it, then you've done well. If for some reason something doesn't work, so now you can just revise it and do it again. But when you're doing it yourself, you already have a set idea of what it's supposed to look like in your head. So you need outside eyes to look at that. So you can obviously ask beta readers, you can ask CPers, use your resources in who you can. You can just have a friend read it and see if they can kind of read what your intention is with the tension. Your intention, if you will. Having outside eyes really helps a lot. It's something that I wish I had more access to when I was first writing. Now I'm really happy to have a community that you can find people to help you with. So utilize all of these seminars, obviously, in tension and suspense of Wordstock AuthorTube Part 2. You can get a lot of advice from all of the great authors participating, all down below. And again, if you have any further questions about tension or anything else about writing, please put them in the comments below or on Facebook, Tumblr, and Twitter. And if you guys like the content that I am putting out, I do have my Ko-fi commission page open right now. Go check it out. Or if you just want to donate a cup of coffee, I have it set to hot chocolate because I don't drink coffee. You can do that for just $3 and help a creator continue creating. I'll see you next time, cuties. Bye!